This episode of Mystery Ranch International is brought to you by Musha brand samurai swords.
From the Musha collection comes this intricately hand-forged Musashi katana. Full tang 1045 high carbon steel makes this a resilient katana that is razor sharp right out of the box. Traditional black color themed katana with Musashi style Suba. The Suba depicts the crest that is the traditional double ring used by the famous Japanese swordsman Miyamato Musashi. This blade features integrated bohai on the blade. Bohai is commonly known as blood grooves, but that is a common misconception. The purpose of the bohai is to help reduce the weight of the katana, look smooth as hell, and it actually has nothing to do with channeling the blood. Making the katana lighter enables the user to wield the katana better and puts less stress on the hands. Not to mention it benefits some advantage cutting techniques that requires the katana to change direction rapidly. All Musha swords are able to be fully disassembled. Musashi-style Subi, Fuchi, and Kashira all can be swapped out for a different set. Real wood handle is wrapped with traditional cotton. 41-inch hand-forged samurai sword. 1045 high carbon steel, full tang blade, razor sharp and ready to cut. Hand-forged with the Muryaru Katai process. Musashi-style zinc Suba, metal Fuchi, and Kashira. For collections, gifts, straw mat cutting practice. Let's take a look at the most recent verified purchased 5-star review. Jason from the United States says, "Excellent, worth more than the price, bro. Excellent quality, a serious weapon, came sharp from the box, but a few minutes with sharpening steel, and wow, razor sharp. I actually was forced to defend my home with this sword, and it not only took out perpetrator's truck window, but cut him badly and punctured a lung. Quite strong, and showed no damage after such use. Highly recommended." Thank you, Jason. 18 people found this helpful.
All right. Happy New Year. Welcome to this episode of Mystery Ranch International. It's MJ1. 2022, baby. It's MJ1 chilling with Hillbilly Che Guevara over here. We are chilling in the SAC, the Southern Alliance compound underground bunker 322.
That's right.
Coming at you in 2022.
Yes, sir. Y'all been asking for it, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know y'all been waiting for this.
Alright.
We know y'all been waiting and everything. We love you. Hey, we love y'all as much as y'all love us. You know what I'm saying? Thank you very much.
All 7 of you.
Kamishiwa.
All 7 of you.
Yes, sir.
Alright.
Hey, YouTube, if you want to fight, we're ready, Bubba. Because we're sick of you shadow banning us like you've been shadow banning us. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to cut all that out in 2022. We're going to get this stuff right here, baby. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get Instagram, Netflix, Hulu, and Facebook, everything. Across the board. We're just going to be swiping it. Ready.
All those.
I'm ready for this episode.
MJ1.
MJ1. What's up, baby?
What's up, buddy?
I've got high energy tonight.
Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Happy New Year to you.
Coming out of the underground bunker 322 in 2022, baby.
I love this guy.
Yeah, man.
This guy right here.
We've been having
That's why I
fun.
get up in the morning.
We've been laughing pretty hard. Coming out with the call sign Camelot. Of course, there's only 2 nights at this round table. You know what I'm saying?
I like it. Yes, sir.
What bringing in the new year, you know, I guess in 2022 we're gonna instead of, you know, I believe in self-improvement all the time. I'm sure you do also. So I don't ever really have resolutions or nothing, but we thought we would just talk about what are we gonna talk about?
We decided on if we're gonna do self-improvement, let's do testosterone. So we picked a samurai, the best swordsman in the world, katana, and
Let me tell you who it was. His name was
let's see,
Miyamato Musashi. He was a 15th century samurai who studied the way of the sword and just philosophy of living life, pretty much. He wrote the Book of the Five Rings hundreds of years ago. And we were going to talk about the Dokado, which is the 21 Dokado. Or the 21 precepts on self-discipline to guide future generations, and we know we need that. As the older generations probably felt we did, or still do.
We're going to talk about and see how relevant it is from the 15th century to the 21st century.
So,
Yeah. And a lot of it
I got
overlaps.
some mixed feelings about a few of them, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't take 100% of them much of anything.
We'll get there. We'll talk about those when we get there on
Right.
MJ1. So,
what do you think? What's the first one?
let's get started.
So,
Start it off.
his first principle of the 21 principles on self-discipline to guide future generations was accept everything just the way it is. So,
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the MJ1.
let me see this. So, if any of you have ever studied Eastern philosophy, I mean, obviously you know they were pretty much
interesting
like into
one.
traveling light, and
It's an interesting one that, because he went through here, he wrote all these down. And he's like, what's the first one I want to put down on this list? I think that's kind of interesting that he would pick this one right here, accept everything just the way it is.
pretty
What
much
do you wanna
saying
do?
you can't change the unchangeable. You can change yourself.
Yep.
You have to flow through the rock formations and be the one that gives, and accept it the way it is, and you adapt and overcome to everything.
It even, you could even almost relate this to a Bible verse of what does it gain a man to worry about tomorrow? Because you can sit there and worry all day. Let me say something real fast. I heard this on a radio interview one time, and it was a woman that had lived to be like 110 years old or something. They were interviewing her. It was something crazy, and they were like, "Come on, tell us your trick. How do you live to be 110 years old?" And she was like, "Well, I always saddled my own horse," and she was like, "I didn't ever worry about nothing." I think worrying can almost be worse for you than a lot of stuff that's out there now. That's what I think. You was gonna say something. What was you gonna say?
I don't know. I messed that up for you, though. Y'all can all think about and philosophize on that. Accept everything just the way it is. Number 2, do not seek pleasure for its own sake. So that kind of says for itself. So you shouldn't go out seeking pleasure. That doesn't mean as you work hard and do things, you can't find pleasure in the simple things of your labor or the everyday wonderment of the Lord's creation. But when you go out looking for thrills, I think that's a slippery slope too.
Especially them with 2 legs. You know what I'm saying, gentlemen? Huh?
Many things.
2 legs and 2 other things. Well, I could. Never mind. I'll stop right there.
Number 3, do not under any circumstance depend on partial feeling. So
Liberals, thank you. And commies. Is that what you were gonna say?
Oh no.
No.
Not necessarily.
I didn't mean to jump in there right there, Michael. But
partial feeling, I would think you shouldn't go shouldn't dedicate your time to something that you don't feel 100% about, or you shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't. Partial feeling, emotion, don't run on emotion, or you know,
Thinking like a woman. Thinking like a woman.
yeah. If you're unsure, you know, don't go at something 100%, or don't go at it all until you're sure.
And that's no offense to our lady listeners, because we know we got at least what, like 126. Something interesting as
We love women.
we love them. I'm a feminist. I'm a lesbian myself. But something me and Michael
Yes.
something me and Michael were talking about the other day. It was a study from a little bitty Judaic village, but he said if men could control their sexuality and women can control their emotions, basically that's what I'm thinking this says right here. Don't use your emotions to think. Maybe.
Yeah, pretty much, you know.
Yeah.
Don't,
But if men could control their sexuality and women can control their emotions, they're going to be successful.
yeah, together or whatever.
Yeah.
I would agree. 100%. Where are we at? Number 4, think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. And I don't think he's saying, like, think a lot of the world. I think he's saying have thin skin. You know, first of all, think lightly of yourself. Have thin skin. Don't sweat the small stuff. You know, don't get easily offended.
Yeah,
Don't be easily
100%, yeah.
offended. Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good way to put it.
But, you know, deeply of the world could mean, you know, be selfless. Help the rest of the world around you, because you're thinking lightly of yourself anyway. Keep yourself light. You don't need much. You can use that to help those around you. Yeah. You know, I don't think he means think a lot of the world. I think he means philosophy on how to make the world a better place.
World
while you're not taking yourself too seriously.
World as a word for civilian,
not worldly, but as to make it a better place.
like non-combative civilians.
Where are we at? Number 5. Be detached from desire your whole life long. So,
Musashi, come on, bro.
yeah. So in Eastern philosophy, I read one Buddhist book, the Dhammapada, and it was all about having control over your wants and desires, and it makes you probably a stronger person, because just like a drug or anything else, if you have control over your wants and desires, it goes to, as far as like getting fat, it goes to getting diseases because you're a sexaholic, it goes to, you know,
Everything.
burning yourself up on drugs because you can't control your wants and desires.
Being a slacker, not wanting to get up to go to work.
I mean,
Everything.
So, you know,
Man.
that's kind of, it could be food, it could be drugs, it could be sex, it could be a lot of things. So, have control over your wants and desires and emotions. Which, do not regret what you have done. You know, I guess doesn't mean go around doing horrible things and then don't care about them. I think it just means, you know, move on, move forward, make up for it if you did wrong, and learn from it, do the right thing. You know?
That almost overlaps with a lot of philosophies, and it's for a reason. You know, man, what are you gonna do? You know?
Sit around dwelling on it and make yourself sick doesn't allow you. It drains your energy and doesn't allow you to be proactive to move forward and fix everything that you might have messed up.
I woke up in a tree pot downtown Atlanta with a heroin needle sticking in my arm. So I mean, what would I do? I'm just kidding. If you did do that, what are you going to do except
Get your crap together and move on and get and do better. So number 7, never be jealous. You shouldn't be jealous. You should be inspired, right? I know you're
I'm
jealous.
inspired.
Sweet threads right here.
I am inspired by this jacket.
Thank you.
AKA jealous of this jacket.
And,
You're looking very
although
tight. You're looking very tight tonight, Michael.
bro, thank you. Although I despise Che Guevara's politics. I really like your style you got going on here over here, bro.
Thank you, man.
You always feel very militant.
Put out that vibe.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, don't be jealous.
Good look. You're looking freaking slick, my
This
friend.
is what we believe now. We believe don't be jealous.
That is number 7. So don't be jealous, be inspired.
We believe that now.
If people around you are succeeding, and I deal with people at work, don't be a hater. There are people that if they see you with a smile on their face, they want to knock that smile off your face, and that's sad. And what you do is you go through life and be like, oh man, what did they do that they're so miserable? I'm sorry for them. I'm gonna go be happy. Don't be jealous of people. Be inspired. Pretty much.
So this is the pause on the Musashi. So Musashi don't listen. So if you have a smile on your face, that makes them the most pissed off ever. The people that's trying to get the smile off of your face. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I like to kill them with kindness.
Unpause.
Kill them with kindness.
Kill them with love and kindness.
Number 8. Never let yourself be saddened by separation. Just don't. I guess he's saying don't get attached to material things.
He obviously never had an MJ1.
It's especially in this material world we live in. That's a very tough thing.
I've always expected a commie bullet just come out of nowhere and take him out. And I've been preparing myself for that. We had that Scorpion mishap earlier. The Eastern Bloc machine gun, but it's okay.
That's why I mostly move through underground tunnels these days.
That's right.
But Antifa's been exposed and pretty much defeated in the underground war nobody knew about, so we're good. So
It's number 1 now. It's number 1 now.
we were on number 8. Never let yourself be saddened by separation. So
Keep that in mind.
travel light. Number 9. Resentment and complaint are appropriate neither for oneself or others.
Self-explanatory.
Resentment and complaint are appropriate neither for oneself or others. You sit there with a chip on your shoulder, it don't hurt nobody but you. It doesn't hurt anyone but you. So that's some double negatives.
Beautifully.
When we're talking about
Yeah.
resentment.
No, beautifully put.
It doesn't hurt anyone but you. Complaining, I can't stand.
Hey.
What did you say one time? I said something like, I'd rather listen to a fat baby fart than a grown man crying about something.
Exactly right.
It's you take that same amount of energy and just adapt and overcome, and you usually get way better results than draining your own self because you get in, you complain and complain and complain, and you kind of get in that tunnel vision of negativity.
So remember that hashtag fat baby fart grown man cry hashtag. Get the t-shirt.
So resentment and complaint are appropriate neither for oneself or others.
Don't be that guy. Come on now.
You're an
better.
You're an energy vampire, and I'm over it. 2022, I'm probably just gonna look at you and say, "Shut up! I can't stand you draining my energy."
And if you're watching this, we ain't expecting you to be like that anyway. Because you're a ranch hand, you know what's going on.
Number 10. Do not let yourself be guided by the feelings of lust or love, because you see a beautiful woman. There's an old saying about a beautiful woman, I should say. It's like,
What's up, girl?
that'll make a man write bad checks. And that's because, it goes back to some of these others seeking pleasure and things like that. You let yourself be guided by that, you'll let yourself do anything.
Well, it's just
You
back to
give it up, it'll all be worth it because you're so in
Let's
love
learn
with
from the Jews. They're rich, okay? I mean, back to that Judaic prophecy earlier, of men controlling their sexuality. It goes right hand in hand with what we're talking about right here. So, the Jews were on something.
Do not let yourself be guided by the feelings of lust or love. Yep. Because you'll make bad decisions. In all things, have no preferences.
What number is that?
Number 11. Good old evil number 11. In all things, have no preferences.
I'm conflicted about this one. I just don't understand it. So what do you think it means, Michael?
In all things, have no preferences. I think it means you're so detached from everything that, and you live so simplistically that you, in a perfect Buddhist world or whatever they're talking about, that you're living so simplistically that you don't really need, you're eating like 3 pieces of barley and 2 berries or something every day, and you don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
You're lucky to get that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
In all things, have no preferences. I think it means you're keeping it simple. If you don't have any
Hello, sir.
preferences,
Do you want the number 1 or do you want the number 2? I have no preferences. Well, would you like this extra large? Well, I really don't have a
do not
preference.
put mustard on that burger.
I don't have a preference.
So I guess you're keeping it so simple. And I mean, you got to understand this was 15th century.
Give me the number 1.
This was the 15th century, so they had a little less stuff to have. And he was a nomadic wanderer and warrior.
Musashi,
So
obviously you didn't have ADHD, baby.
Probably because he had 21 principles he lived by that kept him ADHD. Okay. It's hard
I
not
like
to have
all this. I like all this.
preferences,
What I'm learning right now.
So
I'm learning.
number 12, be indifferent to where you live. Like I just said, he was a nomadic wandering warrior, which I was just reading this thing on the Mongols.
Out of the Book of 5 Rings, right? Okay.
But these Mongols were, of course, nomadic warriors that definitely got advantage. They had an advantage because they were so used to living just as hunters out in the wild that they didn't miss all the pleasures that sometimes who they made their enemy did out on, like, every day was out in the wild was a normal day thing for them, and that gave them an advantage about where they lived.
If you had a blanket over a hay pile, you're like, damn, that's nice.
This is luxury.
Luxurious.
So they might not want to do that because they don't want to get soft,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Komishiwa, you get out of that hay pile. They'll make you soft.
I'm pretty sure Komishiwa is a pretty popular Japanese word, but
I think that's
like hello and goodbye or something.
I'm learning my Bushido, bro.
So being different to where you live.
That's our hydrogen purifier.
Helium-3.
Anyways.
Don Wayne said hydrogen, but being different to where you live, so that just gives them the same type of advantage of just a traveling light type of advantage, So here's one that I struggle with personally because I like to eat is number 13. Do not pursue the taste of good food. I mean, if you're pursuing the taste of good food, that goes back to a bunch of the other things. Do not seek pleasure for its own sake, or being detached from your desires. If you're hungry and you're thinking about that cornbread with a little bit of butter and some honey on it, or the fried chicken, or whatever you're thinking about, then that's taking your mind off of just. First of all, it might not be healthy. That's healthy for you. You're not going to be as light on your feet. It's just it gets in the way of progress, really.
What's that hippie?
Personal progress, not like study.
What's that hippie grocery store?
Whole Foods.
Isn't that a chain?
Sure.
Musashi, you mean I don't go to Whole Foods, bro? And I don't think he thinks that. I think he thinks Maybe don't eat a hamburger. I don't know.
Just because you're stuck.
You know what we're saying.
Don't pursue the taste of good food. It's just another lust to get in your way. Number 14. Do not hold on to possessions you no longer need.
Musashi, come on, bruh. This is one we could all probably learn. I know I can learn from it.
Do not hold on to possessions you no longer need. Me too.
I mean, I got like 7 surveillance TV cameras over there, you know? I need them, though. Yeah. That's self-explanatory, I'm pretty
Do
sure.
not hold on to possessions you no longer need. We struggle with that in today's world. Here's one other than I try to follow other than one big one, but do not act following customary beliefs. Just because everybody says you gotta have tea at 4:20, that don't mean you gotta have tea at 4:20. You know tea at 10:13, you have tea at whenever. You don't have to. I think being traditional is a good thing, and there's good things to learn from it. But I think just because modern society tells you, well, aren't you supposed to this or that? I don't think you necessarily have to do that. I think you can pursue.
Or ask Sir Smoke a lot of what you gotta have at 420, you know what I'm saying? You remember
I don't even get that reference.
David Chappelle on that 1990s movie? High Times. Sir Smoke
No,
a lot.
let's go.
Here's that rap video that he did himself. Sir
I don't
Smoke a
remember
lot.
that at all.
Yes.
I
I saw you watching it too.
Alright, here's one that coming down from the Eagle's Nest, studying earlier with James on in his study the Eagle's Nest with
Yeah, that's like 7
Much-
subterranean
much-
levels above us.
yes, it was actually much literature and weaponry you wouldn't believe, from the Orient to all of American history. There's one wall full of knives and
Throwing knives,
oh yeah, oh I mean
shurikens, like ninja stars.
There's chucks. There's every weapon imaginable. So number 16 is hard for some old boys born in the 1980s. I'm going to tell you.
Obviously, Musashi, you weren't born in the 80s.
So number 16 is do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what you need.
Come on.
So, it's kind of
It's
here's
true. It's true.
here's a little saying
It's true.
in modern day whatever, like even in the gunslingers of the West, they or somebody in competitive shooting.
Back then, Daddy only had one piece of iron that he had
Well,
depended
and
on.
here's the thing: they always say, you beware of the guy who has one gun, because he may have mastered that gun. In competitive shooting, you see the guys that show up with a new piece of equipment every match. They don't win.
I
The guy who's
know.
been shooting who masters his one weapon, he wins because he's mastered that one weapon.
Well, but this is the other side of that, right? Other side of that
Doesn't mean
coin.
you shouldn't have a stockpile ready to go.
But Musashi, if I'm not mistaken, he was a preference to not having a favorite weapon. He liked to be prevalent on all weapons, whether.
If he was going to use a weapon, he was a master.
So if he was in a duel with somebody else and he was thrown a Chinese sword instead of a katana, he could still kick somebody's ass with the Chinese sword as opposed to the katana. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I read that about him saying that whatever, if he might have fewer weapons on him, but he was going to be a master of those weapons.
It's gonna kick your ass.
And he's saying do not collect weapons or practice weapons beyond. He's
you,
he's
bro.
the samurai sword master that started having the two, right?
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Your
Before
one,
that, most of them had one. He had the short,
Wakazaki.
the short one and the long one.
Yeah. Freaking A. So what number are we on now?
That was
We're waiting on you.
That was 16. What's 17?
We're waiting on you. Me and our 1,000 followers.
I think it says 175. How much is that?
If YouTube would stop shadow banning us.
I'm pretty sure number 17, I can't see it, is do not fear death.
We got a dry erase board right behind you people.
So, as a warrior, number 17, do not fear death. He thought...
If I pulled out a 38 caliber revolver right now, Michael, would you fear it?
A little bit. But
I would fear
I know you wouldn't do that, but...
Exactly.
I read a little bit about this one earlier, do not fear death. As a warrior, he was saying, if you go to have a sword battle with somebody and you're no more worried about it than you are just a normal practice, then you're probably going to win. Mm-hmm. And that's part of, and the samurai culture believed in honor over, death before dishonor.
I've heard that.
In other cultures, it's more, it's better to be honorable and die than to live dishonorably.
Yeah, me and Michael have never been underneath any kind of live fire that has threatened our life. Just for fun. We've been underneath live fire. I'm just kidding. But, I've heard that across the board.
We tested the berm. We knew they weren't coming through. Just to get us used. There's certain drills you got to get used to.
I have had bullets.
I've
had bullets fired over my head, and they do sound amazing. But I've heard that across the board of men going into actual combat. If you can have your funeral before you ride into battle, baby, you're probably actually walking out of that fight. If you can keep that shit out of your head of what Sally gonna do if Daddy gets killed in this one, then that's one less thing you're worrying about. And that's one more second. You're able to pick up that grenade or turn it right back to Charlie. Anyways, yeah.
Number 18.
Let's get 18. I'm curious.
What is it here? Do not seek to possess either goods or fights for your old age.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about that? Do not seek either goods or fights for your old age. So, we looked up fights earlier. What was that?
I like parallel it to a Bible verse of do not lay out clothes for tomorrow, for you don't even know that tomorrow's going to come. Shooter McGavin.
Yeah.
Or something, and it probably like deeper than just saying I parallel that to,
I guess, like I said, the Eastern philosophy stuff, at the end of that Dhammapada, they thought you should just pretty much walk into the woods and die with just a sack. After you've given away all your possessions or whatever, walk into the woods with a sackcloth and die. And
I respect that.
Just die.
Kamishima.
And I get it, but today's world, it's a little different. We're looking for security in our old age. But maybe it means, goods or fights for your old age. Maybe it means as you get into your old age.
Was fights concubines?
No. Maybe, don't set yourself up more than you can do as you get too old.
I think we talked about it earlier. Maybe this might not even mean this, but maybe it could be added to it. But also, like if you're the CEO of a big corporation, you can step to the side and go to your Miami house.
Before you're too old, you run into the groom.
Let the young CEOs have their turn. Let them lay the mirror out on the table. Chop it. So watch Miami Vice. I know what Miami CEOs do.
Number 19, and in our case, I know in my case, I believe in God, and so respect Buddha and the gods without counting on their help. Number 19. But here's how I'm going to say and talk about this. Number 19. Respect Buddha and the gods without counting on their help. First of all, I believe in one God with a capital G. I will say this. I'm reading the Old Testament right now. It never says, when he says don't put other gods before me, it never says those lowercase gods don't exist. And by God, I don't mean the creator. I mean maybe a demon or some sort of spirit. It just says don't put them before him. From what I've read so far, it doesn't say that they don't exist. So
I'm a clueless, a liberal on a Ouija board right now. So who am I talking to? You're talking to a god right now.
Talking to Frankie, I lived in 1927. I lived in 1927. I loved poodles. Me and my wife Sally, we bred poodles in 1947. Let me into your soul.
or whatever.
That sounds
that old
legit.
chestnut.
That all checks out, Frankie. So yeah, I'm gonna open my.
You're
I'm
in the
gonna open my
jazz
soul right now.
You're a jazz musician.
Frankie, pizza.
So, but I'm going to get this. Respect Buddha and the other gods without counting on their help. So I'll say this about, I believe that God helps those that help themselves. And I'm not saying everybody can help themselves because maybe some people are helpless.
Musashi,
We're
your
all,
word stuff weird, man.
the people that are helpless, the ones that aren't, should definitely be helping. But I think that is just part of the self-reliant lifestyle that he's been talking about without counting on their help. You help yourself because you're able. You better yourself because you're able. That's a blessing in itself because you're able. Let alone right?
What's that old proverb from Hurricane Katrina?
Help! Help! Something like that.
It might hear us. But anyways, like there's somebody waiting on the rooftop.
We don't want security running in here with it.
And exactly.
Sorry.
But somebody's waiting on the rooftop. Somebody comes by in a flat bottom boat. It's like, come on, Bill, get on in. He's like, oh no, God's got this right here. And it keeps on. Finally, National Guard comes by with the helicopter and it keeps on. The floods rising. Come on, Bill, get on in the helicopter. Oh no, I got this. God's got me. Well, finally he drowns, and he gets up there to heaven, and he's asking God. He's like, "Well, I thought you had me, man." He's like, "Dadgum, I sent you 7 boats and a helicopter."
Pretty good. That's pretty good analogy.
Broken clock can be right twice bad.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. But that's exactly it. If you have the ability to help yourself, help yourself. And God's given you're blessed just by having the ability to better yourself. So take advantage of that.
I love this place called America.
Exactly. So
Opportunity. Wake up every day.
hopefully.
It's the horizon.
Number 20.
It's beautiful.
You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor. So, that's what we were talking about earlier. The Japanese, especially, were all about honor. And
Bro, did you just cut off my top knot with your samurai sword? Huh? You just dishonored me, man.
very disrespectful.
I'm sure that was conversation was like a lie.
Like that.
Just like that, pretty much.
The only difference was the Japanese dialect to English.
Honor was.
Yeah.
Well, look at
That's
World
why
War
World War
II.
II we had,
You had a freaking dude that they found in the 1980s that was guarding the island.
Didn't they have to capture him
Yeah, they had
to
to
like
I
hold
hope they had to
him down?
put a tire net over him and stuff just to. Bro, did you see them throw that tiger net on me?
just like the kamikaze pilots, you know. Preserve your honor. If the big boss tells you to go kill yourself to take out a bunch of Yankee dogs, you do that. Because that's the honorable thing to do, I guess.
Yankee dog.
Or they just give you enough gas to get there. You know.
Or like try to fly it around to where it like puts like barely gets to the
Or just land on the deck. They probably.
Oh, kamikaze, one of those jokes out there, go.
No, it's no joking. I don't mean to make light of it.
No,
But number 21.
What is it?
Never stray from the way. I think I'm gonna put that in a rap song. Never stray.
I've got that tattooed on my back.
Never stray from the way. Never stray from the way. So I mean.
So in his book, the Book of Five Rings, which is like this thick, he goes into the way. And man,
So I guess everybody should get on Amazon Prime right now and get the 5 Rings.
Mystery Ranch International has their own version of the Book of Five Rings, so you know we suggest you just go ahead and hit that buy button right now. Thank you.
Maybe we'll put a link on there, but what do you know if Miyamoto Musashi's grandchildren are watching or whatever? You know, then we'll throw a stack some cheese for throwing that out there.
Yeah, 100%.
Set up a link to our DOT contract and number.
So, do we want to go ahead and do those? Do we want to do those quotes?
Let's save those for a minute.
What are we looking at time wise? We're going to save them.
Yeah, let's save those.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
You see, we're watching out for you. We know you think we're not watching out for you, but we're watching out.
Thank you everybody so much for checking it out. Check out the website. We're going to get that going. New stuff. It's exciting. New year, 2022. Happy New Year. Please like it. Subscribe. Check it out. Follow the money and the power. We are bringing truth to power, baby.
We're going to be on Hulu. We're going to be on Netflix. We're going to be on Amazon Prime. We're going to be on HBO Max. Everything, right?
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, my bro.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Thank you for watching Mystery Ranch International.